welcome to our video lecture series, Her Music Lives. This series highlights women composers from across the world and throughout the centuries who have written songs to express their identities and life circumstances. Each video briefly introduces the composer, followed by a discussion and performance of the chosen song. Connection questions and research materials are available at the end.
Laue Sommernacht, am Himmel stand ein Stern. Im weiten Walde suchten wir uns tief im Dunkel, und wir fanden uns.
This episode in our video lecture series features the Austrian composer Alma Mahler and her song Laue Sommernacht, Mild Summer Night.
Alma Mahler was a quote-unquote new woman during the fin de siècle, or the end of the 19th century, in Europe. She challenged traditional notions of womanhood by living a truly unconventional life. Alma Mahler-Würfel, as she was ultimately known, did supposedly masculine work by composing, and she was outspoken in her political views. She was unashamedly free to be with any man she wanted, whenever she wanted. Consequently, her life and works have been under constant public scrutiny and judgment even today. Whether one loved or hated Alma Mahler-Würfel, everyone agrees that she was a magical, powerful, ebullient woman with an indomitable spirit. For the purposes of this video, let's suffice it to say that if she had not been born a woman, her life may have turned out quite differently. And as a composer, she had very little output or influence. But as a promoter of great male artists, she had a very large impact. I encourage you to look into her life further and see for yourself. At the end of this video, we've offered you a few places to start your research.
Before you hear a complete performance of the song, we're going to highlight some of the musical elements that we as performers enjoy. Susan, what do you think is interesting in the vocal part?
Well, Alma Mahler used emotional text painting. And I don't know that that's necessarily a musical term, but I'm calling it emotional text painting. And this is when the music illustrates the emotional underpinning of the text, of the lyrics. So the first bit of emotional text painting is the prevalence of fermatas that indicate to hold or suspend the music for a moment. This represents the emotional feeling behind the poem that speaks of this hesitancy of life, of being in the darkness, in a starless night with no guiding light, groping and searching. And it's very effective in creating a sense of being lost. The second bit of text painting is on measure 19 when I sing, "Fiel dein Licht," or "tumbled your light," which comes from a fermata on the highest note in the song, and it slurs down into a chromatic G sharp and then a G. The poem is speaking of the light of love that randomly tumbles into the dark spaces of our lives. And finally, many phrases are chromatically rising phrases that do not end in the usual arch structure, but rather on a high note that doesn't really resolve. So I want you to listen to how each phrase ends with a musical question. The point is that life is difficult. Much of the time we are groping and searching in the dark until we find love. And the light of love finds its way to us through the broken places. It was a young Alma Schindler who wrote this song, arguably one of her best, and a surprisingly apt prediction of her life to come. So, Catherine, what's interesting about the piano part?
The piano part provides an intensity that never resolves in this short song. The passionate text that drew Alma to write this song is heightened by chromaticism throughout. Listen to the piano introduction. All the lines move, ascending chromatically, providing an aural sense of uncertainty that makes the listener question the major tonality. The brief piano-only phrases that punctuate the lines of the text give the music momentum. The arpeggiated chords have a thick German romanticism to them. One might be tempted to think of Richard Wagner when hearing many of the harmonies in this song. The final line of the text, "Love fell your light," is followed by an amazing chromatic set of harmonies that complete their ascension to an E7 dominant seventh harmony in A major, which just leaves the performers and listener hanging with no resolution to an A major tonic chord. It is an unexpected ending. Now we will perform Alma Mahler's Laue Sommernacht.
Laue Sommernacht, am Himmel stand kein Stern. Im weiten Walde suchten wir uns tief im Dunkel, und wir fanden uns im weiten Walde, in der Nacht die Sternenlosen hielten staunend uns im Arme. In der dunklen Nacht. War nicht unser ganzes Leben nur ein Tappen, nur ein Suchen, da in seine Finsternisse will dein Licht. Fühl dein Licht.
Okay, now that you've heard the whole song, what are your thoughts and connections to Laue Sommernacht? Here's a connection question to get you started. How does Laue Sommernacht reflect a mild summer night?
Maybe you might want to make other connections or research Alma Mahler, who has such a rich, interesting life that connects to musicians, artists, architects, and writers of the late 19th century and 20th century Vienna. If so, there are additional connection questions and tools at the end of the video.
Thanks for watching.
Fanden uns im weiten Walde, in der Nacht die Sterne.